Hi, ihr seht und hört einen Podcast von Future of Festivals, dem Branchentreffen für alle VeranstalterInnen, DienstleisterInnen, EntscheiderInnen und Auszubildende aus dem Festivalbereich. Unsere nächste Veranstaltung findet vom Mittwoch, dem 25. bis Donnerstag, dem 26. November 2026 in der Station Berlin statt. Kommt vorbei, wir freuen uns auf euch, aber jetzt erstmal viel Spaß mit der Aufnahme.
Ja, herzlich willkommen. This interview, as Leonie started already, is taking place in English. I can see some of familiar faces. I'm very happy to dive into this festival because, as Leonie already also said, I'm also a big fan of Exit Festival. I have been there 2 times in the past, and I'm happy that you guys are with us today and that you said yes to this opportunity to find out about more of Exit Festival, cultural resistance, and your actual status, and something about the future, which was announced this year. So, as a little background for everyone who knows Exit Festival or who doesn't know Exit Festival is set to leave Serbia. After 25 years, you were celebrating the birthday this year, which was a landmark decision, to be honest, also in the festival industry. It is led by threats, cultural problems, and also by making a decision of supporting student protests within your country. You already have made some very interesting marks for the future, where you will spread your wings out on all the continents. And after 25 years, so it was founded in 2000, I would like to start and also welcoming Dušan, you as founder and CEO of Exit Festival. Can you give us a little brief introduction? How did Exit Festival started back in the days?
Thank you. Is it working? Yes. So Exit started 25 years ago as a student movement for peace and freedom in Serbia and Balkans, basically as a movement against the dictatorship of a regime of Slobodan Milošević of that time. And after the very crazy and bloody decade in the 90s, the end of the last century, so myself and a group of students, we decided to take an action and to use music as a tool to activate and motivate people. I was 22 back then, to lead our generation to take part in democratic process. And that we call that the Zero Exit. It was in a university park. It had 2 stages, one live and one DJ stage on the beach. And it's interesting that later we will be famous for our main stage and our dance arena, which are basically, we have two main stages at Exit. So it lasted almost 100 days. We had live concerts, theater performances, debates, etc. And at the end of the festival, it was those crucial elections where Milošević was finally overthrown.
So how many people was it who founded it together, the Exit Festival?
Yeah, it's a group of students, so it was 5-6 of us.
What was the reaction back then when you actually went out with Exit Festival and it was an obvious project against the government? Because it is also led from a student perspective, as well as you facing student protests by supporting a new generation of that. How did the government back in the days react to that?
So actually, we knew that we cannot be totally open from the beginning because we would be shut down. So we started just as a party, and we use the name Exit as a symbol that something will be going on. And then so as I said, it lasted almost 100 days, and how the festival was going on, we started introducing more political framework inside the event, and by the end of the festival, the message was totally clear. But at that moment, government really had other things to worry about, that were also happening, protests all over Serbia on the streets.
What was the size back in the days? Because now you have a landmark of 200,000 visitors, which is, I mean, it's
Over
a
the
legend.
4 days, so its capacity is around 55,000 for the fortress.
Okay, how much was it back in the days?
It's around 10,000, but for a very long period.
Okay. Tanya, I also would like to welcome you. You're the General Secretary at Exit Festival. And I would like to ask you, in the process of Exit's 25 years, when was your point where you stepped into the Exit world and how did that happen?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. I would like to thank you for inviting us to speak at this really crucial times for us. So this support and the fact that you're interested in what is going on in our country and in the festival, with the hugest festival in our country is really important. I dived in Exit Festival World in 2014. Which was like a long time ago now. And I totally fell in love with the festival, with the organization, with the vibe it has. I did not expect to end up in such a world because I was studying diplomacy. I wanted to work for the Ministry of International Affairs, so it was totally unexpected for me. But after 10 years of working for NGO, civil sector, working for various corporations, working in all different backgrounds where a person can find itself in trying to figure out the professional career. All of a sudden, I found myself in the festival industry. Never imagined I would be there, and I was just amazed with the energy, with mostly with the values that Exit Festival promoted, because I'm a being of values, not a being of materialism. So when I realized that I can nurture my own values within the Exit Festival, I decided that this is the place for me because it totally embraces my personal mission. And I was like, I'm finally home. So I stayed there since 2014, and I'm really honored to be a part of Exit Festival team because it's a team of, first of all, people who care about each other, and that's the most important thing, and that is, I believe, the key aspect of our festival, because we are a group of people, first of all, caring for each other, and when that kind of people find itself at the same place with the same energies, with the same values, it just has to be good. It cannot be anywhere different, and that's why we also stood up in the moment that we are standing up now to fight for our values.
When you're talking about fighting for your values and how you have become a part of Exit Festival, looking at it from a person that has always been a raver, has always been such a fan of the festival and seeing it grow, as I said, being able to be there for 2 times, it is a different vibe when you're on the ground than with a lot of other festivals that I have seen and experiences. You feel it's youth activism there. It's really led by youth, which is interesting and good for a brand on another case as well. It is a lot about social responsibility. Talking about it from a perspective coming from a Western country, let's say, democratic country where we can actually go on the streets, we can actually say what we want. Remembering everyone in here, in Serbia, in the past, this was the movement where it started under Milosevic, it hasn't been, and now we are there again with the actual government. I have watched a speech that you were holding at the European Parliament. You were invited there next to other cultural people or working in the cultural sector in mostly East Europe. You were giving a very interesting speech, and I can only recommend everyone to listen to this speech, to dive into your words. You only had a few minutes there, but they were packed with, in my eyes, goosebump scenarios. Can you give us, before you go to the exit part of it, what's the actual situation in Serbia right now? And does situations like these, speaking on panels like that, as well as in the European Parliament, bring more threats towards you and the brand in your country?
Yeah, every time we speak about the situation in Serbia, it's a sort of risk that just add up. But at this moment, the government also has a lot of things to worry about, thankfully. So basically, situation in Serbia is following. In 1st of November, a little bit more than a year ago, the canopy on a railway station in our hometown of Novi Sad fell. On the railway station that was just recently reconstructed before that, and it killed 16 people. And that tragedy sparked a massive student and civil protest because basically everybody blamed the widespread corruption in the country for the tragedy, and basically people were fed up. So it was the drop that filled the water, filled the barrel. And so basically, Serbia has seen some of the biggest protests probably in Europe in this century. On 15th of March, it was over 500,000 of people on the streets of Belgrade. And it's a very unique movement because it's leaderless, it's led by students who democratically vote on every decision. And it's very, very unique movement that is inspiring similar movements across the world. And the government response to this was fierce, having in mind that all the artists and cultural, not all actually, but most of the artists and the cultural organizations supported the students. So the government created the blacklists. So the artists that support the students cannot perform almost anywhere in the country because most of the venues are owned by the local government. And for us, we received first a threat that if we continue to support the students, that our funds will be cut off. And at the end, they were cut off. But then they continued with threats. I was personally threatened by members of special police unit in Serbia that if we continue to support the students, that they will turn the entire agency against me. And also, for instance, they delayed into giving us the license for this year festival. So we got the license just 2 days before the festival, after we basically made a threat that we will do exit anyway, either in the streets, which will be then very in uncontrolled manner and potentially chaotic manner. So when they realized that we will not back off, they gave us a license just 2 days prior to the event. And then during the event, they tried to cancel it by threatening the security agency that worked for the festival to withdraw the personnel. It was, just imagine if you do events, just imagine waking after not waking, basically it was end of the first night of the festival, it was around 7 a.m. And I get a call from our production manager saying we need to meet immediately. And he say, like, they made this threat, security agency will back down, they cannot, hold this, they cannot fight with the government, with the police. And they said...
Why is that? Why is that? Why is the security, why can they not fight in that level? Because they are...
It's a private company and...
which is all led by corruption, and they all
most of the security agencies in Serbia are influenced by the government. Not most, all. But this one has been long time working for the festival, so they had a motion for the festival. But basically, when the special police service said you cannot, work the second night, because on the opening of the festival we had student on the opening of the festival. The gala who song "Fred from Desire" became a student anthem during the year, so she was performing them together with the students. So the festival was heavily, it was like a protest thing. So they made this threat. So the security agency backed off, and my production manager said we cannot do the festival without the security. And I said we will not withdraw. And again, we basically made a threat to the government saying that, do you understand that basically we will not back off, we will find a way to continue, and basically on every major media in the world, you will be in the headlines tonight, and everybody will be saying that the Special Police Force of Serbia has endangered the security of tens of thousands of people from more than 100 countries in the world. Like, are you serious? Or do you really want to go into that scenario? And then it was the nervous game, you know, the game of nerves throughout the day. And by the evening, they backed off. And then we managed to do the festival.
How, you have mostly been in the situations as well. How was that situation for you? And how is the day with Dušan for you? How is the day together with Dušan for you, being in this process, experiencing those threats, being like every second you have to follow up with another threat, with another fear. How is this for you working in such surrounding and working for Dušan?
Yes, well, it definitely was like a scary moment. But somehow we are like fierce as a nation, I believe, and we don't get that easily scared. So it's like we have to be strong and we have to be resilient and we have to continue in order to fight for our freedom and for our right to be where we have the right to be. I was mostly concentrated on what needs to be done because in the moment of the stress and high pressure, I personally am oriented towards the goal and toward that's what needs to be done. And I believe in, like I said, good energy, first of all, that our festival has and projects onto the audience and in everything that we do. So our fight for freedom and democracy is not violent. We are doing it through, how should I say it, a non-violent way, yes, a peaceful way. So, and we also, like Dušan said, we had visitors from more than 120 countries worldwide. So I believe that in a way, maybe our police would beat us, but they decided not to because of all of the foreigners that we had at the fortress. So they realized that they would have a problem with the foreign countries and where the diplomatic representatives who are in our country, because we also have a lot of diplomatic corps members who visit our festival regularly each year. So they realized that it would be a problem if they did that.
How was this, let's say, these 6-7 months until the festival for you? When you have decided internally, we will speak up openly and support the student protest because we stand by that, we take a stand for the occasion. Did you had an internal fear of there might be people inside the team that will step out and be on the government side or be within the team and report information outside of your team?
No, zero. Basically,
you never had that thought?
No, the biggest, so the team was on the protest from the very first day, and they are very, very passionate about it. And I remember the one team member on the day of the festival, because the opening of the festival, we actually had 16 minutes of silence throughout the whole festival for the 16 victims, and this is something that the students were doing throughout the year. Every protest they do, it's marked with a 16 minutes of silence. I was worried a little bit, having in mind that we had so many international people. Will they honor that? But everybody honored. It was it was incredible moment. And I remember one of the team members messaging in the office group saying, I'm aware that I might be losing a job after this festival because of all of this, not by us, but because there will be difficulty of keeping all the jobs. But this is what exit is, this is what we stand for, and it's worth it.
Wow, I mean, from my perspective, that's cultural resistance and actually acknowledging what I'm working for. We just had it in a little pre-talk. My perspective, even though I'm an activist myself and I have worked with East European or African countries and people, is always we are very much on, like, we go to the streets in our Western society. We go there one day because it's kind of like more of a trend, and then the next day there's nothing. The people in Serbia are on the streets for more than a year now. I also have been one day there in March. I have seen it. I can just say, like, it's breathtaking to be surrounded by that. I have not been in a protest like that before, and you said it the right word. It's actually something that has never been there the last 2 decades, like anywhere in Europe or even in the world. I would like to go a little bit, not saying a little bit away from the emotional impact or side. I would like to know a little bit about the structure from the last year from Exit Festival. How does Exit Festival was able to finance itself? Because one of the threats was not just being threat personally or against the brand, or you will not have the licenses, it was also finances. So what was the actual monetary consistency of Exit Festival in the past? Was it ticketing, was it sponsoring, was it governmental cuts? How did that work for you?
So it's a mix of everything. The ticketing, the bars, the sponsorship, and the government subsidies. The government subsidies were there because the Serbian economy is very weak. And being a major festival in Europe, we cannot charge locally the tickets of hundreds of euros. So basically, locally tickets start from 60 euros. You know, it's extremely cheap. So that people
Which is, just that you can a little, is it, how much money is that for people in Serbia? Because sometimes we're in Germany, 60 euro for a festival sounds not that much, but compare it a little bit so that we have a little bit of an
Yeah, average salary in Serbia is lower than 1,000 euros. And because of that, and because we bring around 25 million of euros of tourism through tourism industry each year, or over 300 so far. So the government had an interest to subsidize. So basically, with losing all the subsidies, and they also canceled the main sponsor, that's government-owned telecommunications that has been basically a general sponsor for 22 years of Exit. So they canceled that as well. It was lost more than 1.5 million of euros that they pull off. And basically, we managed to finance this edition through surplus that we had from previous years. But it's not possible to do in the... And the situation even got worse during the summer. So basically, in Serbia, it's not possible to organize an event of that scale. So basically, we made the decision to return to Serbia when the freedom returns, which we hope that it will be sooner rather than later, and decided to take off to the world tour of doing events around the globe, because when the news broke out that we are leaving Serbia, we got invitations basically all around the world. So we already announced a few locations that we will do from smaller to bigger events, and we will be adding to that list a few other locations very soon.
Tanya, you said at the beginning you're also around the very institutional part of the work. How much of a workload was this to get the fundings, or was this always clear year by year, or for several years? Did you always have to request the government every year for the money for the support, or?
Yes.
What was the process behind that?
The process is that we apply for the funds to the government, because they have open calls for cultural institutions and the ones that bring the tourism benefits. So we apply to the respective institutions, but in terms of the national republic level, there we were in the budget for I believe 6 years, something like that. But with that, we also had a certain administrative procedure where each year we apply for the funds, where we write, after getting the funds, really vast reports. I mean, I wrote those reports for years. Those are like more than 100 pages reports. We are like really doing everything
By detail?
Yes, in detail.
Were there any regulations from the funding side? So did they tell you, it had to be a specific side of the program, needed to be a certain topic, or were there topics not allowed?
No.
There was
We would never agree to that. So basically, it's a standard tourism grant. We are
Yes.
bringing tourism to the country, and we are getting subsidies for that.
Yes, but for this year we also applied, and there was no decision on the call, and we also did our procedure, and we didn't get no feedback.
Not just
about
that. We were actually on the national level. We were inside the budget, but then they had to do additional procedures to cut us off the budget.
They used a certain way to reallocate the funds. They said they need it for something else that is more important than festival being held. So that's how they cut us.
in all this process, between November, everyone who has worked on a festival knows that September, October, you're already talking for who are we booking. So how does the agents, managements, artists have give a feedback to your team or to the booking team when you actually had to tell them, listen, it might not take place, or it might take place on a, let's say, legally difficult situation, because if a security person or a whole company backs up, gets off the contract, what was the difficulties with artists and agents on that level? Were they fully supportive, or, as I personally would assume right now, they were like, no, because it's a lot about the money first?
First, I need to say that we have a very good relationship with artists and agents. Basically, the reason why we can manage to do a major festival in such a poor economy like Serbian economy, one of the reasons is this amazing relationship. It's like family relationships that we have with some of the top acts and agents. So when a week before the festival, I realized we still didn't have a license. So that was very stressful, as you can imagine. So I dialed one of our close friends in the festival world, Maria May. She's one of the top agents in the Europe and in the world. And I said, listen, what's your advice? Basically, like fully supportive. And then also on exit, the Steve Hogan, who is also one of the top agents from William Morris, he came from the day one. And basically they came, we said, we are here with you, and you have like our full support. Whatever happens, like full support. So that was really, really nice to see and to feel.
So when you announced artists, have you seen that also artists were in favor of supporting the student-led protest, or even, let's say, the background? You don't have to support the movement in general, but they were like on the side, or did artists just focus on promoting the exit and their set, and they were apart from the political side?
Yeah, this is a complex story.
Let's say the human side.
This is a complex story because we got support from some of the artists. They understood. The ones that we are the closest with, they understood and they supported. But many artists are really afraid to get political, especially because of the Palestine. As Exit, we were fully clear about supporting the Palestine and everything, and basically spreading our voice against the genocide there. But because of these issues that they are afraid to get into, some of them, so they were resistant to be political in Serbia, but not political in Palestine. For Palestine, so or somewhere else. So I believe that we got like very open public support for the students from around 10-15% of headliners.
The festival took place. You had the situation, or your team had the situation with the production manager. The festival ended. Explain me a little bit, Tanya, the days after the debrief. Did you had to go on fully on the next day, or did you had a little break in between and then you had to regather and, okay, where are we starting right now? Was this an actual debrief?
I don't even remember.
You don't remember?
No.
I can't understand, to be honest. Like, just listening to you guys for half an hour now is like, wow. I mean, working on festivals myself was like, yeah, it's hard, but like, was this political and institutional pressure? But try to remember. If not, you might.
I think that we are still in it, right? We are still like, it somehow, like it didn't end. We are waiting for this change to happen, and when that change happens, then we can continue our lives normally. Until that moment, we'll be feeling under pressure all of the time.
Watching the news and just diving into the situation in Serbia, I do think it is not over in a bit of a days, because the backup of this government and country is a little bit in a different way, but this would be another panel, to be honest. But I would like to have the audience like understand what is the situation for you guys of, okay, are we actually investing the energy more and more and more? Because standing for something takes a lot of energy and a lot of resources from people. You can do that until a certain point, until money is not there any longer, because you know the fundings were not there. You probably do not have savings for 10 years, so you had to do a decision. But I would like to know the time in between. How did this feel for you to say, like, okay, we have to make a decision. Can we actually stay in Serbia because of the political situation, or do we have to leave also because of the financial, economical situation?
Yeah, it's both. Basically, it's both. So both, it is not possible to do, as I said, the situation even got worse during the summer. So definitely is not possible to do event of scale of exit in these circumstances, but also for the financial reasons, because it's not possible to do a festival in an economy like Serbian without the government subsidies.
So at one point, you have made the decision of, let's say, of having a break in Serbia, because we would like to see it in a little positive way and not leave the country, because you're not leaving a student-led protest, you're not leaving a youth behind you, you're not leaving your actual baby behind you. You have to take a decision out of certain reasons. When did that situation happen? This year? And following up from that perspective, did you first decide of letting exit not happen again in Serbia next year or in the future? Or did you first come up with a plan, how can we go to other locations, countries, continents, will it be?
So the first was decision that is not possible to hold exit in Serbia next year. It was around May or June that we basically announced that one. And then we got, because it was pretty viral, and it was in also all major European media, so we got invitations from, as I said, many places around the globe. And then when we saw how basically exit is welcome almost in every country, so that is when we decided to start working with these local promoters in different countries to start working on different events and shaping the world tour.
So you actually went out with a press release. I have seen it on your Exit Festival site, and also the BBC stated, a major music festival pulls out of Serbia after backing student protests. And when you search for Exit Festival and this press release, there was a lot of them internationally, a lot of articles found in really the biggest news worldwide. How did that feel for you?
Having in mind, you know, I probably reflect in 10 years and then I will have some emotion. But as Tanya said, having in mind that we are still in situation that really feels like a war zone, and especially during the festival with what I described, it really felt like a war zone. It is, you have to stay focused, and you have to stay focused, and you have to think what's your next move, and then what's your next move, what's your next move, because if you think about the scale of everything that is happening, then you would probably freeze, you know. So we are going step by step as we manage to realize a festival in this such difficult circumstances. Now we are doing this transformation in basically shaping the organization so that we can hold this world tour successfully. And what is a good thing is that we will be working really with the leading promoters in each country, so that gives us a sense of really security and safety that everything will be in the best possible manner.
Before we're coming to the future projects and where you're going and what's the plan of that, Tanya, how did the Exit fans community reacted on this decision? What was the major, let's say, feeling in the room online, that you acknowledge or that you have seen? What was...
I think that they were shocked. They were shocked and they just couldn't accept that information, because it's like we were there for 25 years and now all of a sudden they receive the information that there will be no Exit Festival next year, and they were reacting to it like it's not real information. We don't believe that they cannot accept it. That I think that we are also in a certain state of shock still. I don't think that we processed the information that we will not be held next year in Serbia. At least myself.
I mean, for a lot of young people, it was a place to express themselves, as I have experienced it. A lot of people that have different threats than we are actually privileged in our Western world here. For them, it is a very important space. We often, and it's my personal perspective, we often talk about that this safe space and where can I express myself. It actually is in Serbia a place for that, where you can feel like, okay, this is different. I can be who I want to be here. Like, this is paired with music, paired with art and so on. Like, it really was the feeling that I got on the ground. But do you think people have been, because we all know social media, people are like, oh, you're taking a step back and like the government has won now? Or do you think they understood your explanation of why was this, why did we had to do that?
So for the fans of Exit, as Tanya said, yes, some were in the disbelief, but having in mind that our fans are also these kids that are on the streets and protesting. And that was prior to Exit. We were like, okay, we will be all there at the fortress together, unified. So that was the this revolution energy was the strongest. And yes, of course, in ideal world, Exit would be happening in Serbia next year. But we are thinking of doing something smaller. And we will probably do something smaller in Serbia, so that there is this, the flame of Exit is still burning in Serbia as well. But for the full-scale festival, it will need to hopefully wait until 27. We all hope that the change will happen next year. So for the fans of the festival, so they are with us, and we all can't wait for the grand comeback. As I said, hopefully 27.
So, I mean, I'm 100% sure you have good relations to the European Union and to the European Parliament, because you were speaking there. You know the background of political governments and bodies. If you would apply for European Union money or fundings, just if such a case would be there, would you actually be able to make it happen, or is there also a place where it always has take a place, like the festival side? Is this still available for you if you get a funding on a European level, or is this also in the hands of the government?
It is possible. So what is important to know that Exit is a festival, but it's also an NGO. One of the most active NGOs in Southeastern Europe. So we had hundreds of different projects in social projects in the last 25 years, from humanitarian projects, environmental protection projects. We even led the candidacy of our local city of Novi Sad for European Culture Capital and Youth Capital of Europe, because they didn't have people who could do this. So basically our team members were leading the candidacy, and we won for both culture capital and youth capital. So we did many different projects, and some of them were European funded. So we have a long-lasting relationship with European programs. This is one of the conversations actually that we are having with EU ambassador, with Directorate for Enlargement, and with other directorates, and also MPs at the European Parliament, is that Europe really needs to show that what it's preaching, it needs to show in practice, you know. And if Europe now preach that Europe is now this superpower, that is only one left, that in this world of today is leading the fight for freedom globally, then it needs to basically take care of what is happening in its own backyard. And for scene in Serbia at the moment is really hard. So we as Exit, being such a global brand, we are now, you know, taking all of these opportunities, and we will manage somehow. It's very, very hard, but we will manage. We are well connected globally, and we can do different things. But there are many artists or smaller organizations that basically are on the brink of extinction. Like the whole free thinking scene, cultural scene in Serbia is on the brink of extinction. And Europe can solve it easily, you know. But as we know, the structures in Europe are usually very slow, and one of the things with speaking like in a conference like this is really, you know, to push Europe to take more attention on what is happening in Serbia. And things are changing in that direction, but at the moment the culture sphere is not recognized as being such a problem. And one of my aims when I spoke with in European Parliament is really to put the light into that problem. So it's not just the civil sector in Serbia that is endangered, is the culture and creative scene is the most endangered at the moment over there.
In one of the articles that I've read about Exit or about, let's say, the future, there was a quote from you, Dušan, that says, we aim to unite continents through our festival and carry the spirit of freedom wherever we go. For us, music has always been more than entertainment, and it's a powerful force that brings people together and builds bridges between nations and cultures. Speaking about the 120 nationalities that have been on the ground in the past years, where are we going in the future, Tanya?
Well, for the next year, we are bringing, like you mentioned from that statement, exit energy and magic to the countries where we will have our shows, and that's what we are planning for the next year. So we are super excited.
Drop some countries.
We are super excited about
Drop
that.
the lineup.
Well, we had the announcement for this first bulk of countries that we announced, and there is Egypt, Malta, India. There is also our region, which is very important to us. Macedonia, Montenegro, yes, Croatia, of course. We have their Sea Star Festival for
Serbia
8 years now.
Yeah, so Serbia, as I said, we will be doing something smaller, basically that is possible to do in this environment to keep this connection with the fans.
So it's a co-promoter that invited you guys, or you will do something on your own, and you're not in fear that the government will actually start another civil war on you guys?
You mean for the local in Serbia? You know,
I mean, I was surprised as a fan from outside. I'm reading, okay, there's a future coming. Like, I loved seeing, okay, there's still Serbia, because it shows you're connected to your country, you're connected to your culture, background, you're connected to your people. But I was like, you're leaving Serbia to another country, and then there's Serbia as a country in there. So it might be just speaking out of like...
Yeah, that's why it's important to, you know, speak about it and to explain more. So as I said, what is also important that Exit is not happening next year, you know, because Exit is tied to our home of Petrovaradin Fortress in Novi Sad. And what we said is that the festival of the scale of exit and the level of exit will not happen. But also, even then, when we announced that, we said that we will do our best to do something smaller in Serbia as well that is possible to organize in such circumstances. So we are planning to do something in the level of 5,000 to 10,000, basically, people.
Okay. The decision of going, advocates devil now, the decision of going to Egypt, how did that happen? Fighting a government that is also not really on the really good side with its people.
That's true. So we got an invitation from the leading promoter there to do event. And basically, what is important to say that we don't have any restrictions So if you get any restrictions, like we did from Serbian government, like you cannot do this, or you cannot say this, or you cannot, then we will not do it also. So it's clear.
So it is a local promoter. Can you already say where in Egypt it will take place, or is this something that we might release for the world state here?
So it's happening, and this is also some of the misinformation that were viral in the last few months. Basically, it is happening next to the Great Pyramids of Giza, but what is important to understand, it's not in front of the Great Pyramids of Giza. It's not like people are partying on the Great Pyramids, and standing there. So it's on the big distance from the pyramids. The pyramids are in the backdrop, but it's like the pyramids are in the backdrop of city of Cairo, where a lot of things are happening. And what is for us, what is very important for that project is that we want to show how when you are doing a show next to such an incredible cultural monument, how you can create a story that is respectful towards the monument. And what we will do basically is parallel to the event. We will have the whole campaign, educational campaign, that will actually explain to the new generations what the pyramids are, what are, about the cultural heritage of Egypt. And we will engage with the local artists, the local media, and there are some incredible people over there that we met that we will be engaged in this project. So we really aim to turn this project into basically celebration of the cultural heritage, but not just of Egypt. So we will be doing a promo tour throughout North Africa and the Middle East as well. So we will be shedding a light to some of the most beautiful heritage of that region as a whole. And there are some also incredible coincidences, some of the acts from that region that already played Exit before, and now we are connecting, trying to mix. So one of the aims to mix the Balkan region and the MENA region in artistic ways to create something new. So there are many beautiful things around that project, but as I said, if we get any pressures from any government that unfortunately we are living in the world where I'm sorry if I need to say this to all of you, but there is not a single country in the world where there is a free government. So just that in the West, governments are better in disguise of what they are doing in the back. You understand? With arms dealing and with pharmaceutical deals and all other, global mafia deals. So there is no free government. But if any of these countries we get like you cannot do this and you cannot say this, then we will not do it. And that's it.
I might ask the question now if there's already a question towards Dušan or Tanya before I might have another few questions. I just don't want to miss the chance. Is there anyone that already has a question? No, right? I'm not seeing anyone. Good. I would like to go to a little, let's say, umbrella topic. Cultural resistance in Europe or worldwide. Let's say we know our connection through Europe, which is a festival association that operates through a lot of big, middle-sized, but also small festivals that brings a really good network of exchanging and so on. Yesterday I just met with Kudruca from Armenia and Romania, which I have followed with her the last months of the elections in Romania, and it looks more and more in Europe that cultural resistance might be needed, not just in Serbia, maybe not because of the horrific accident that happened in Novi Sad, but generally governments are tackling down culture, governments are tackling down opinions, freedom of speech. Looking at this, not just from your exit perspective, but also from your diplomatic and international relations of it, what do you think these, let's say, independent networks between festivals, what kind of topics do they have to discuss in the future, and what would be something that we need to talk furthermore to also the European Union, maybe?
Well, first of all, I believe that it is important to recognize this among ourselves and to join the forces in fighting for what is good for culture in general. So that's why it is so important that we get the opportunities like this to say what we are going through and to connect with other festivals as well, and to hear each other and to see that we are basically on the same spot. Someone has maybe more pressure, someone has less pressure, but culture in general is not in a good position, I would say, in general, globally. So first of all, like I said, I believe that we have to unite the forces among ourselves and fight for our right to express our freedom through culture, which we are doing so far.
How is it for you?
Yeah, so I said that before that music industry combined, I said that during the pandemic is stronger than any government in the world. And I think that what the pandemic showed us is importance of unifying the music industry. And I remember when pandemic started, for us, it was like fourth force majeure in our life, so it was like business as usual. And then I wrote to Europe, actually, saying like we need to organize, we need to push for the European Union, to push all the governments to support the festivals because we cannot work. And at that moment, the first response was like, okay, we need to go back, we need to listen what the governments are saying, and, you know, just do nothing. And I was like not happy with that answer. And that is when we started to really push with our government. And actually in 21, that's the reason why Exit was the first major festival in the world to happen after the pandemic. But what was the issue? That year after I approached Europe for that one, basically the football started to play on the stadiums. And I said, look, you know, they are organized. You know, football mafia managed to push the governments. It's not like you sit and you wait for your good government to call you like, okay, now you can do festivals. No, you have to organize yourselves and you need to push for that decision. And we managed to do that in Serbia, and together with some UK festivals, we were the only festivals that happened in Europe that year. And that is, so basically the festivals and the music industry need to be more unified and organized. But there is also one other thing. The festivals and the music industry needs to be much more socially active. For instance, 20 years ago, when you were in the Starbucks, it was not a must to have a fair trade coffee. You know, it was not a must. It was pressure from consumers who now basically it's a must. But it's not case like that in a festival and music industry. It's like the biggest headliners, they don't have to do social campaigns or do humanitarian campaigns, just the ones who wants to do it. But there is no pressure for them to have to do this, or the festivals. So what we are speaking now, and I can I can talk about it with, for instance, Roskilde, who is also super, like us, socially active music festival, is how we can engage into a project and to motivate more festivals to be more socially active, and then also to speak with the artists, how the artists can be more socially active, because music industry combined has the power to change the world, but we need to find how we can unite.
Do you actually think the artist doesn't want to do it, or is it more the management and the agents who tell them don't do it?
Many artists are doing amazing stuff, so by themselves. But
questioning this, do they do it early enough?
Probably not. Probably not. But as I said, there is not an expectation from the festivals and from the artists that it's a must for them to do socially responsible activities. So there is no this pressure from the fans, from the public towards the festival, and if that pressure, and that is what we want to build, and then we will see more and more stakeholders in the music industry going into that direction.
Okay, an interesting perspective. So when you are looking into the future, let's say 2027, what would be your wish and utopia for Exit Festival? Being in Serbia and worldwide, or if you're back in Serbia, you will not be on the other continents and you will bring the continents back to Serbia?
So even before all of this, we were doing festivals in Croatia, in Montenegro, in many different countries. So we already exist as basically festival organization with multiple festivals. So in ideal world, we will be having a grand comeback in 27, and also we will be having these events ongoing. So also it's important to explain that when we do festivals, it's not like some of the other festival brands that we just replicate exit everywhere. No, so basically each of our festivals that we do, for instance in Croatia, is Exit Presents C-Star. So it's a tailor-made brand for that location, and it will not leave that location. It stays with that location. So in each of the countries that will be doing festivals, it will be basically a new festival brand that will be by Exit.
Ah, okay. And then looking into Serbia 2027, what do you think? When is the next governmental election?
It should be in 27, but there is a really push for early election. So we were all...
Oh, because of the student movement?
Yes. So we all expect, I think that even the... What do you think? I think that even our government accepted for the elections to happen next year.
Well, they should, yes.
They should, yeah. I mean,
No,
they should have done a lot in the past 13 months, right? Talking about what governments should, especially this guy. Yeah. Any question right now? Otherwise, I would... No? Yeah. The human being in the second row. Thank you very much. Would you introduce your name? And then towards the question, you address it.
Hello, my name is Diego, and my question is to Dušan. And I wanted to know if you find other festivals in the world that you think that we should look up to, because they are also doing some very important work in terms of resistance and movement and impact in all types of fields.
I think your question, if I recall it, is do you have any recommendations of festivals worldwide that already do like a good movement on a culture spectrum, resistance? So if you have other examples.
Yeah, definitely. I think that festivals that keep, and there are many festivals in the world that keep social agenda high on their priority list. I think maybe the first unification in the festival world should be the festival, the more activist festival. And then that will be one very strong force.
If I can call you a name, my perspective, Pohoda Festival, like absolutely in my house, outstanding. Any other question? No? So for now, the situation is 3 of the big unindependent ones. It will just be one next year, will be Roskilde, because Glastonbury has also a break next year. So Exile Festival has to have a little break, hopefully just for 1 year, or even if there's an election happening and this human piece of whatever will be tackled down, and then I hope we will see you in the future. I will definitely rave wherever it will be in the future.
We will party on 27, I'm sure.
At the end, we will always party, and we will look forward when we have an entry for the exit again. Thank you very much for your time, very much for being here and answering the questions.
Thank you very
much for listening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.